President Obama set to unveil his budget proposal for next year, chock full of tax hikes and deficit spending. Critics already slamming it as a re-election gimmick that is fiscally irresponsible. Some say it may just be a challenge for Congress to come up with something better.
Last year, I had to offer his budget for him. Senate Democrats haven't passed a budget in 1,000 days, even though the law requires it. We only had 2 budget votes last year. I offered the House budget. They followed the law and had a vote on a budget. We voted on that in the Senate. I offered President Obama's budget, since the Democrats didn't seem to want to develop their own budget and didn't want to vote for his. His budget was defeated 97-0.
Alabama Republican Jeff Sessions joins us, ranking member of the Senate Budget Committee. Senator, good to see you.
Thank you.
The president's budget proposal here, which begins fiscal year October 1st, calls for a deficit this year of $1.33 trillion. He is, however, proposing to cut the deficit by more than $4 trillion over the next decade, half of that through spending cuts and the other half through tax increases. What's your reaction?
That's totally incorrect. He is nowhere close to reducing spending and the deficit by $4 trillion over the next 10 years. The preliminary numbers we've seen is it virtually has a de minimis reduction in the debt, virtually no debt over 10 years. We'll still add another $11 trillion plus to the debt. We're going to move our deficit from 15 to 26 trillion dollars. And this is a debt course we cannot sustain, and he proposes to do nothing except reduce or eliminate the spending cuts we agreed to last summer. His budget that he just submitted will eliminate the sequester that we agreed to last summer. That difficult choices that were there, and pays for it by more taxes. So he reduces the cuts, raises taxes, and then claims that 2 actions reduce the deficit another $1 trillion, which is totally bogus. That tax increase only would pay for the sequester elimination. So this is a dishonest budget. It claims multiple reductions in deficits that aren't real, and it's just deeply disappointing.
They also want $350 billion in short-term stimulus spending. What do you think of that?
Well, it just adds to the debt. The first thing you do to get on a sound financial course is stop digging. The hole is awfully deep already, so we're talking about borrowing every penny of that, threatening a Social Security trust fund in the process. I think it's a dangerous plan. I know a lot of people want to see that happen, and I can understand it, and love to make every American have extra money, but it's a dangerous trend, frankly.
The President's Chief of Staff, Jack Lew, former budget director, who helped prepare this budget, said, and I'll quote him, "The time for austerity is not today. If we were to put in austerity measures right now, it would take the economy in the wrong direction." Does he have a fair point?
Well, you know, you can discuss how much ought to be cut this year, but they're talking about borrowing more and spending more. We should have been having a debt this year of about $1 trillion. Instead, it'll be $1,300 billion, $300 billion more, because they continue to borrow and continue to spend. But in the long run, this is so important. The President of the United States has a responsibility to help this nation understand, as Admiral Mullen said, this debt is the greatest threat to our national security. We're going to have a long plan to get off of it. It is going to include the big programs like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. They'll have to be put on a sound financial basis. They're not now. And you could put this country on a path that would lead us to prosperity, not decline. And I would just say this: if the Republicans are given a majority, the Republicans are going to pass a budget. It will be a 10-year plan for growth and prosperity in this country. It will get us off the debt path that we're on, and it's a fundamental responsibility of this government and for the chief executive to not lay out a plan that has any credibility,
Right.
does not reduce our debt course, is irresponsible in my opinion.
Senator Jeff Sessions, many thanks, sir.
Thank you.